Hey everybody, Jim Edwards here, and welcome back to episode 120 of the Sales Copywriting Content Marketing Hacks Podcast. I'm your host, Jim Edwards, along with my trusty co-host and podcast producer, Mr. Stu Smith. Welcome, Stu.
Hey, thank you, Jim.
And today we are going to be talking about an important topic for everyone who sells anything on the interwebs. If you want to make the skeeters, if you want to make the money instead of putting on that hairnet and heading down to McDonald's and using those words that have generated billions of dollars all around the world, would you like some fries with that, or perhaps even a hot apple pie? You better learn how to price your products. That's what we're going to be talking about. Pricing your products for maximum profit. But Stu, yes, there's a reason why we're doing this topic. You got the idea for this topic on a previous episode. Give a little backstory to the folks.
You bet. Yeah, originally we were going to talk about something else for podcast 120, but something I like to do, in my spare time. I'm driving around, I put my phone into my car and pop a podcast on. I listen to our podcast, when I'm driving around. One, I want to make it better. Two, it fires me up to go do things. So you can get these podcasts in the audio format on, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify. So download them on your phone, subscribe to them, and you can check these out. Just listening or hanging out in your car, doing some work.
And you can also get all those links by going to thejimedwardsmethod.com/podcast. You can get the links to all them goodies.
Nice. But yeah, so we originally had a different idea, but about middle of the week, I sent an email to Jim and said, "Hey man, I really enjoyed listening to the Imposter Syndrome podcast again, because you took us off on a little bit different tangent on pricing. And it was very good information that you shared on that one. So I would suggest checking out Imposter Syndrome, because this has something to do with it. I remember when I first started writing ebooks, I had a published book already. And I was thinking, well, this is an ebook. It's not a published book, so I shouldn't charge as much as my published book. But then again, it is instant gratification. They don't have to wait for it. So I was kind of going in this little dilemma of, how much I should charge an ebook for. And then next thing I know, people are charging $50 for ebooks, so I don't charge that much, but it is a constant problem for me to undercharge what I do. And I'm trying to figure out that price base that works for my customers.
So what's your question?
Oh, the question is, it's nothing. It's really not a question to it. It's talking about pricing your products and services. Okay. Whether it's online or local, in the brick and mortar type store, right. And things that we need to look out for in that process of, one, overcharging or undercharging, or what's that sweet spot in the middle?
Okay, so there's a bunch of different stuff to unpack here, and we're going to try and do it lickety-split.
Yes.
So the number one thing is, if you sell something that is basically a commodity, then you're going to be able to charge plus or minus about what everybody else is charging. So if you go look on Amazon, that's the definition of commodity pricing. If you want to buy a drill, you want to buy a Black & Decker drill, you want to buy a Milwaukee drill. A Milwaukee drill costs what it costs, whether you're buying it from hardware store in Dubuque, or you're buying it from somebody, direct from the factory, from their store. It pretty much costs what it costs. That's not where you want to be, because when you're selling a commodity, it's a race to the bottom. I think Dan Kennedy, who was a famous copywriting / direct response business coach, said that. So you don't want to be there. Now, overpricing versus underpricing really comes down to a couple things. One is your value proposition. what is the value that you are communicating or not communicating about whatever it is that you're selling? So part of that is sales copy. Part of that is building up the benefits. Part of that is really understanding what the payoffs are going to be for the person that buys from you and selling that. And most people underprice, or their value proposition sucks because they talk about the features. They don't talk about the benefits and the meaning of those benefits to the customer, to the person that's potentially going to buy. So when you do that, always goes back to that example of a drill, but we're not going to use the example of a drill because little Timmy, you missed out on your chance to build that birdhouse with little Timmy and look at that birdhouse for the next 30 years and reminisce about the great times you had with little Timmy. Now that he's grown and has children of his own, you don't have that touchstone of that love you had when little Timmy was 10 because you didn't buy that drill. So you suck. So it's too late for you. But it's not too late to get in shape. So we talk about the value proposition of Stu having a book like, what's your book that you have for fat guys who are over 40 that are scared they're going to die fat and young, and they buy that so that they can actually get back in shape? It's got a real nice title.
Is it like Tactical Fitness Over 40?
Yeah, but it's the one where you get back and somebody just gave them mad face. I pissed somebody off.
Rebuilding the Foundation.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Rebuilding the Foundation. So here's the thing. With that one, if Stu just talked about, hey, I'm gonna help you ease back into it, and you're not gonna get hurt, and I've got 12 different exercise routines, no matter how much of a couch potato you've morphed into, and all this other stuff. That book's worth, $9. How much is a book? An ebook's, fitness ebook is $9, $10, $15. It does, and that's all it's worth. But if Stu has an offer where it's, hey, this is, back on track, fitness over 40, rebuilding foundation. I'm going to show, you got the book. It's going to show you how to get back in maybe even get back in shape, or maybe even get in the best shape of your life. This has been used by guys who can do more push-ups now than they could in their 20s. Their testosterone levels are going through the roof. All these benefits that you're talking about. And the cool thing is, when you get this, not only are you going to get that, you also get a 30-minute consultation with Stu Smith, who is the former Navy SEAL, who still to this day trains all of the guys coming out of the Naval Academy who are going to become Navy SEALs, trains special forces, police, firefighters. Stu's in amazing shape and can help you to do the exact same thing and help you develop a personalized program, and you start just adding stuff to the value to it. All of a sudden that ebook has gone from being $9 to being $97, or has even gone to being $197.
Nice.
Because you're adding the value to the offer. It's never that your price is too high. It's that, I gotta watch what I'm doing. Hey.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
Your price is never too high. Your value is too low. If you decide how much you want to make, then you need to add on so much value that you're giving 10 times the value that you want to take out as far as price. And when you do that, your price is never too high. The other thing that we will tend to do, and I know you probably do this, Stu, you might tend to prejudge your audience's ability to pay.
Yes.
Because you might say, oh, these are young kids without any money. Guess what? Mom and dad have big fat credit cards with large limits. And mommy doesn't want junior. Well, some moms do. But some parents don't want fat Tommy living in the basement, sitting on the couch, hosing off them till they're 27 by law, on their health insurance and their car insurance and their other stuff. And if there's any chance that Tubby Tommy could get in good shape and go in the military, mommy would pay for Stu Smith to wake Tubby Tommy's ass up in the morning with a phone call. You see what I'm saying? So it's not the kid who pays, it's the mom and dad that can pay. Also, guys over 40 tend to have money, and if they want to get back in shape and they're having a midlife crisis, they're going to pay. So you can extract the value up front in the price that you charge, also by structuring your funnel in such a way that you just extract the value from the high reactors. So maybe the best point is to, or the best price point for your book or for your product is $19, $29. Stack on the value like crazy, crazy. Make them feel like, oh my God, this is insane. And then in the first one-time offer, you know, having an order bump, having a one-time offer, having another one-time offer, step them up, because 10 to 20% of those people that buy whatever it is you're selling on the front end will spend a lot more money. So if you don't have your funnel set up the right way, you're the one that's keeping people from giving you value. You're the one that's cheating people out of giving you extra money. And Vicky just said, if they're motivated enough, they'll find a way to pay. It's absolutely true.
That is true.
I mean, money replenishes. People pay off enough on their Overmax credit card to free up enough room to max it out again this month. And you know, that's not my fault. That's not my problem. That is, I don't make a judgment about that one way or another. There was a time in my life when I had nothing but maxed out credit cards, and I don't now, but there was a time when I did, and I kept buying the next thing and the next thing and the next thing to try to find what was going to help me get the results that I was looking for. Now, eventually I realized that I needed to actually act on the stuff that I bought, and that the true answer was to take action on the stuff that I already had and the stuff that I knew. And then I got smart about the money that I spent. I still buy stuff all the time, but I think about it within the context of how it's going to help me do what I already know I need to do. And if it makes sense, I buy it in a heartbeat. Don't even think twice.
Love it.
So that's the other thing. And finally, so the first one was, well, I talked about a lot of stuff, but basically, you know, structuring your funnel. Don't prejudge people's ability to pay whatever you're asking. And then the third thing is, the reason you will underprice is because you undervalue yourself. You undervalue the value of what it is that you're selling. Now that might be because it's so easy for you. You just think everybody can do it, but it's not true. I mean, if you look at what Stu does, I mean, I tried and was bouncing from one thing to the next as far as fitness, and I was doing okay. But then the way Stu does his thing, it worked for me. I mean, it just works. It's all the combination of variety and periodization and macho stuff. And no, it's true. That's part of the reason I do it, is because, I mean, it's an ego hit for me to do workouts that Stu Smith sends me. I admit that, you know? And then I've gotten results, and I don't want to lose those results. So what you can do if you're undercharging that way is really look at the value. Not value doesn't come from the price. Value comes from the result. So you got to look at what is the result for somebody who's able to lose 60 pounds, who's able to transform their body from, you know, the physical age of an 80-year-old back down to a 30-year-old. There's some test they can do to figure that out. I'm just making shit up. But you know, all of those things, a kid, can you put a price on having the path in your hands to be able to go from a 98-pound weakling to being able to be an elite warrior, if that's your dream? I mean, how can you put a price on making your dreams come true? So the value on that is huge. It's not a $19 book. This is the path to greatness. This is the path to your dreams coming true. So another thing that you can do to base your price of stuff is okay, if you had to hire somebody to do something for you, if you went to Fiverr, if you went to Upwork, if you went to somewhere and you had to hire somebody to do this. Now that doesn't work with fitness, hiring somebody to do it for you, but it does work for hiring somebody to do it with you. If you were to hire a personal trainer to do this with you, to do all these workouts, I mean, I've got 100 workouts in here, If you were to hire a personal trainer at $40 an hour to do each one of these workouts for you and put it together and stand there over you to do it, that's a $4,000 value. But yet you get it all here in this book. If you were to create this sales letter, if you were to pay somebody to write this sales letter for you, at a minimum, you'd pay $3,000. And if you went to Fiverr, you went to Upwork, you hired somebody to write this sales letter for you, at a minimum, they would charge you $2,000 to $3,000. So the value of this piece of software is $2,000 to $3,000, but it's actually multiples of that, because when you hire somebody to write that sales letter, you're getting one sales letter. When you get your hands on this wizard, you can write as many sales letters as you want. In fact, you might get so good at using this one piece of software that you go hang out your shingle on Fiverr or on Upwork, and you start charging other people $2,000 to $3,000 to use this piece of software to write sales letters for them. You like how I threw in that? I just tickled the greed gland of, they're not going to do it, but by doing that, I tickled them. They're like, wow, I could do that. That's some real value. Oh my God. I've turned it from an expense into a profit center just by saying that.
I love it.
So, by focusing on what it would cost to have somebody do it for you, somebody to do it with you, you can also focus on, okay, how much would you have to pay somebody to sit down and walk you through this one-on-one? I charge $1,900 an hour now to do coaching. If you want to get on the Zoom with me and have me explain how to do something, it costs you $1,900. You pay it up front, and it's a 1 hour minimum. So, and you actually only get 50 minutes. So that's another way. If I were to sit down and do this with you and show you how to do this, would be a minimum of 10 hours. So at $1,900 an hour, it'd be $19,000. Now you say to yourself, well, I couldn't charge $1,900. Okay, would you charge 50? I mean, inflation's running rampant in the world. If you're not making $50 an hour doing what you're doing it wrong. So even if $50 an hour to have to work with somebody at 10 hours, if it took them, it's $500 value. So this right here alone is worth this. And you do that with each thing in your stack. Now, I've had some people say, well, the way my market works, we don't do bonus stacks. We just sell the one thing. Well, that's dumb. Nobody said you can't offer bonuses. Nobody said you can't stack extra stuff on there. But one thing you can do to increase the value, if you're bound and determined to say, you know what, I'm not going to add anything to this, you can do a bonus, or you can do a benefit stack with your, you're able to do your, all the benefits of whatever your product is. And by doing a benefit stack of all the cool payoffs they're going to get, that builds up huge value, so that when you hit them with the price and justify the price, if you were going to pay me to do this, if you were going to pay somebody else, if you were going to have to figure this out on your own, it would take them. That's another way that you can create value. If you want to do, the first time I did, true story, first time I ever put a video up, a full motion video up on the web with green screen, and it was the whole thing. It was like a 2-minute video. I don't even remember what the hell it was about, but it took me 50 hours to figure out how to do that video, to put it up, because that was when we were still on dial-up. I was doing full motion video back in 2003.
Damn.
And so it took me 50 hours to figure that out. I finally got it down to where I could get the whole thing done in about 15 minutes. But that first 50 hours, even if my time was only worth $50 an hour, $25 an hour, that's a $750 value. That's a whatever it is. It's a ton. And you can tell people, if you were to go and try and figure this out on your own, whatever your hourly rate is, let's say you just make $20 an hour. It's going to take you 50 hours to figure this out. So that's $1,000 that you're going to spend either in blood, sweat, and tears, or you can pay me $97 and I'll show you exactly how to get it done in about 30 minutes. So that's another way that you can give that value, and doing that. So It's the better you understand their hot buttons, the better you stack the value, and the better you understand how to explain value, then it's just naturally easier to charge more, to feel like you have to charge more. That's the other thing. When you put it out there and you're like, okay, you're going to get this and it's worth this, and you're going to get this and it's worth this. And you understand where you're not just yanking that price out of your butt like a lot of people do. Then you're going to look at that and go, well, damn, that really is about $6,000-$7,000 worth of value. And I can't charge $19 for this. So I either need to charge more, or I need to start pulling stuff away, or I need to rearrange it. So they, if you're like, I got to start with a $19 thing, then I'm going to start with that. And then I have my one-time offer, my order bump, and my other stuff. Like for the Copywriting Secrets book, the book is free. You just pay shipping and handling. But then we have the order bump for the audio book that Stu and I did. And then I have a $97 order bump. And then I have, not order bump, but one-time offer. And then I have another one-time offer for $597 or $697. And people take it all day long. So it's understanding your audience and structuring your offer. But the biggest thing is just understanding that value and how you're able to express value. And that's how you do more as far as charging more and feeling good about it. Part of the reason why you undercharge is you don't understand your own value.
Yeah, I love that, Jim. I needed to hear your motivational talk on value and pricing today. So I'm not sure about all the other listeners, but I definitely thought that was very beneficial. Another good one to check out that Imposter Syndrome podcast we did a few weeks ago, because it goes into this with a little more psychology built around it as well. And that will fire you up. It will get you saying, all right, doggone it, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and I can do this.
You is smart, you is beautiful. That's awesome. Awesome. Well, I thought that was real good today. You want to wrap it up with any final thoughts, a summary for everybody?
You know what? I'm just being the podcast guy. I'm going to say, go check out the previous podcasts that we've done, because they are all have little tidbits in there that will strike a chord the second time you listen to them. I've listened to them all again. And there's always something that says, you know what, as soon as I get home, I'm going to go into the Jim Edwards method, start pulling out the wizards. And then I went and changed all of my titles on one of my websites for all my products I sell, just to test it out.
Cool.
So anyway, there are little things like that really kind of just get you pumped up to go do something and change things.
That's awesome. Awesome. Well, I would just remind everybody, those of you who are here with us live, next Monday, we're going to start the live 7-day ebook, Write Your Book Challenge. And so I'm going to walk you step by step live for 7 days through writing your book and publishing your book. You can get a free ticket to that event when you go to 7dayebook.com and sign up for the 7-day book version 3.0. Right now, it's a free bonus. Once I've done it live, we're making it evergreen. It's going to become an order bump. So if you haven't picked up your copy from 7-day ebook yet, 7dayebook.com, do it. And I'll see you live next Monday at 1:00 for the start of the 7-day Write Your Book Challenge. Everybody have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Stu, we're going to end with a polka.
Prost, Fraulein.